Hi guys, welcome to the channel. In this video I want to talk about atmospheres and textures for your tracks. So if you've been looking for some sound design tips, this video is right for you. I'm going to share some of techniques which I use for my tracks, and by using those in your tracks you will make them sound more interesting, more complex, because the more you process the sound, the more interesting it will sound. So no more talking, let's dive straight into Ableton. I'm going to be using Omnisphere. Basically, you can use any sound you'd like as long as you follow those techniques, which I'll be showing you just in a second. So for this tutorial, if you are using Omnisphere, I hope you do because it will be much easier. I'm going to use the first oscillator, and step number one is to find the right texture. So I'm going to go to sample and click on the folder, click on textures category, and I need to create a new MIDI clip. Let it be in the key of, let's say, F. So I'm going to make it, let's say, 9 bars. Doesn't really matter how long your MIDI clip is. So, and right now I'm going to click through some textures. So let's see. Yeah, this one is nice. Yeah, I'm going to tweak the envelope a little. Yeah, actually I think for the amp it looks nice. I'm just going to increase the release a little, the filter. Like that. Yeah. And now I'm going to apply a filter. Let's use some low pass, or maybe some space, or maybe some special filters. So could be this one. Yeah, I need to find some other filters. Yeah, this one sounds nice. Okay, so let's quickly automate the filter. So I'm going to enable host automation like that, and let's draw some automation. I just want to add a little bit more movement to our texture. Yes, something like that. Let's now add some effects in the effects section. So for the A, I'd like to use the inner space, pretty cool effect. Yeah, let's just use the basic preset, maybe add some textures, maybe this one. Yeah, sounds cool. And now I'm going to resample this texture. So freeze the track and drag it on the free audio track, and I'm going to mute it for now. Let's adjust volume quickly. And now I'm going to find another texture. So we could use Yeah, I think we could use the same oscillator since we have resampled the texture, so we don't need to keep it. And let's find some other cool textures. Yeah, this one sounds very nice. And together, very, very nice. Okay, so basically, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing, but let's try and maybe use some other options in this effects. So transients, resonance. Maybe we could use environmental. Oh yeah, brain I think will sound nice. Yep, this sounds cool. So let's do the same thing, resample. And so we've got something like that. And like that. So now the most interesting part starts. Let's group the tracks together and call textures. I like using white color for my textures, and together they sound like that. Yeah, very nice, very lush and deep texture. Let's mute one. Yeah, very nice. I like how they sound together. And now let's try and apply some effects. So the first thing I'd like to apply is an equalizer, and I'm going to show you a very simple but very effective and interesting technique which you could basically utilize on any sound in your track. It's especially good for textures. So I'm going to use mid-side EQ. So let's, oh, not actually mid-side, I'm going to use left-right EQ. So let's do something like that. So I'm going to create a loop. Actually, I don't want to save it. So I'm going to create a loop, and I'm going to increase some frequencies in left and decrease some frequencies in right. So for example, we could increase 1K on the left, and we could cut some frequencies, let's say somewhere here. So it's like a crossfade, so they have this kind of shape. So let's mute the EQ. Yeah, something like that sounds nice to me. And basically for the second texture, I'm just going to swap the places. So I'm going to cut the left and boost the right, and they're going to sound like that. Sounds pretty cool. Now we could try adding some stereo effects. So for example, we could add some phaser. Let's do that. I'm gonna click through some presets, maybe something like that. Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. And for the second texture, let's apply some chorus. So I don't want to use the same effects. So I want to make the sound as I want to make the sound interesting. So let's use different effects. So chorus, yeah, sounds really cool. Yeah, something like that would be nice. And I'm going to apply an EQ after the chorus and the same here after the phaser. Yeah, sounds really nice. And we could also apply some more effects, so something like delay and other kind of stereo effects, so maybe some grain delay, maybe some bubbles. Let's try this. This one doesn't fit, so let's try another one. Maybe some greens. This one is too extreme. So basically, I'm trying to find some cool effects so they could work together with my texture. This is where you could go very creative. I'm gonna use Echo Boy, it's my favorite delay. So maybe let's use reverbs and spaces. Those sound very cool. Some low cut. Yeah, I think this sounds pretty nice. Maybe we could try some other presets. I mean, it's not that noticeable on the texture if I compare this maybe to a lead, to drums, but if you pick the right preset, you could get some really nice sound. Double room sounds pretty nice. You could try. Pretty interesting. Okay, let's keep this one. And for the next texture, I don't even know what kind of effect I want to apply. So let's try another delay. This one's pretty cool. So I'm going to apply it here just before the EQ. And let's use effects, guitar, plate, drums. Let's maybe use some guitar reverb. Could sound nice. Yeah, this one is very cool. I'm going to apply mix, maybe at 25%. Decrease the delay just a little. Yeah, now this sounds nice. And together. Yeah, very spacey. So if we mute all of the effects just for a second, it's going to sound kind of flat. Yeah, the difference is huge. Now I'm going to apply one more EQ, but now I'm going to use it in the stereo mode just to cut some of the low frequencies, just like that, on the both of my textures. We just don't need this low end since it's going to clash and interrupt with the kick and bass, so we don't need that, don't want that. And also we could try to cut some resonances which we have boosted. So here, actually it's 600, so yeah, so somewhere here, yeah. And the same thing for the second texture, so around 1K. And right now we could try some group processing, and for group processing I'm going to use this plugin by FabFilter. I really like this saturator, it's really nice, sounds really cool. So let's try and pick something very subtle. Drive, console drive, maybe tube amp. Yeah, something like that. And I want to go mix at 50%. Yeah, sounds very nice. So we are pretty much done, but there is one last step left. I'm going to create an audio track, and I'm going to resample the textures, so the group. Basically, I'm routing the textures to ear. So let's pick another color, maybe pink. And now let's record. I want to record in post-effects mode, so I recommend using this one when you are resampling. Now let's click record and record our sound just before our last sound design step. Yeah, something like that. So we've got our texture, and now I'm going to create one more MIDI track, and I'm going to use granular synthesis. So you could pick any granular synthesizer you'd like. So maybe you are using some granular synthesizer you'd like at the moment. Basically, it doesn't matter what kind of synth you use as long as it's granular. There is granular synthesizer which is available in Max for Live by Ableton. So by default, if you have Ableton Live Suite, you will have this synthesizer which is called Granulator, very cool synth. I'm gonna use the Mangle. It's a really cool synth, really simple, and I'm going to drag and drop our texture. And now what I'm going to do, for the grain, I'm going to increase the attack, so around 3 seconds, and the release time we also want to increase around 3 seconds, since we want pad kind of sound, very atmospheric, very long. So that's why we are using very long attack time as well as the release. And I'm going to do same thing for the voice, so around 3 seconds and 3 seconds here as well. So the rate we could now play around little, and the reverse I'd like to set around 25-30%. Now let's try and play around with our texture. Yeah, we could increase the sound. So let's increase the volume. Yeah, Now we can resample our sound. Let's create one more audio track, give it another color, and texture 2. I'm going to use the Mangle Post Effects, and now let's resample it. So let's click record. As you can see, I could use different parts of the spectrum, like on this loop. So if I go down, the sound will be a bit different. If I go somewhere here in the middle, the sound is going to be different as well. So that is what is cool about granular synthesis. And also by using granular synthesis, we kind of mixed our textures together so they sound like one, which is not available if you are just using those textures, as in the first example when we just resampled the sound of our group. Okay, so I think we are ready, and now let's compare the sounds so you can guys hear the difference and pick the one you'd like more. I'm definitely going to pick this one because it's more complex, it has more stages of processing, therefore it's more interesting, more complex basically. So let's listen to the sound, this one. Yeah, it still sounds cool though, but let's compare it to the granular texture. Almost the same, just a little bit of difference. It's more flat, I would say. So yeah, if you'd like, you could further process that texture sound, maybe resample it, add another texture, some distortion, saturation, delay, whatever, like an EQ compressor. Just be creative here, guys. And that was basically it. I hope you find some useful tips and techniques in this video. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. And I see you guys in the next one.